when you started this, like, how did you first start using this? Like, did you already have a client, or did you started putting this in your own business? What was the first ways that you've implemented this?
In 2020, it was just me building chatbots, and I had the idea of I'm going to start an agency and I'm going to build chatbots. And I just started reaching out to CEOs on LinkedIn. All I did all day, I was sending cold DMs on LinkedIn and emails. And I think I did that for about 4 to 6 months until somebody said yes to what I was saying. And I told them, look, if you don't like what I do, you get a 30-day money back guarantee. I'll give you your money back. And that was my first client.
Okay, can I just emphasize this because God, so when I worked with clients like on a consumer level, because I used to have like my own membership and had these accelerator programs, and this is one of the things I would suggest them to do. There's many ways to get your first clients, but one of them is you go to LinkedIn, get very, very specific, have something of value to offer, and it's a game of numbers. And I would suggest like, okay, have at least like 10 connections. I would even tell them add a note so there's context. And most people gave up pretty quick. And actually, no, I'll tell you what, most people didn't take a single step. The next largest group would give up really quick. A couple really started, passing that first 3 to 6 month slog period and then started building momentum. How did you decide on that as a platform? And take me to the feeling that you were going through, maybe on month one of doing this and having 0 person become your client at that time.
It was an intense feeling because I started doing this during COVID, during lockdown. I had quit my Microsoft job about 7 or 8 months before, and I was living on savings. And as a side note, the Microsoft job I got by sending 600 LinkedIn messages to Microsoft partners across Australia and telling them, I will work for free, give me a chance. That's another story. But I started doing this. I started during COVID, so it would have been April, May, and that's what I did all day. And my savings were close to zero at that time. And I was locked in. I had nothing better to do. I was doing this all day, every day. So it was May, June, July, August, September, October is when I landed my first client. And then from there, that client knew somebody else I was reaching out to. And this guy saw that I was working with the other guy and messaged him like, oh, she's amazing. And then from there, it just snowballed.
Okay, so I'm gonna kind of twist the knife here, but this is really important for people listening. And I was gonna ask, on month like September, why didn't you give up in September? I mean, you had no client and you're wasting your time. You're spending every day and you don't have a single client. Why didn't you give up in September?
That's not an option for me, giving up. When I want something, and I know it can be done. If somebody else has done it, I can do it. It's just a matter of time. So I wasn't going to give up. It was just a matter of time when the first client landed.
Where do you like, because you need to have that sort of resilience. You need to have this kind of attitude. And at the same time, like it could have been a different scenario. It could have been you're reaching out to all of these people, but maybe your offer isn't so clear. Maybe the value that they would get is not so defined. So what do you think are some of the elements you had in place, aside from your sheer determination, that made you still be confident saying like, this is going to work and it's just a question of time, as opposed to maybe I'm doing the wrong thing?
So during the time that I was outreaching, I offered to work for free for some of the agencies in the ManyChat community. I had nothing better to do. I knew how to use ManyChat on an intermediate level. I wasn't advanced at it. So I went in and I started working for them for free. And in about 2 months, I was running the show. So I was coming up with ideas. I had all of the strategies. They were like... So after 2 months, I knew that if somebody gave me a chance, I knew exactly what I was going to do. to launch it. And it was funny because it was the perfect moment. Black Friday was just around the corner. This brand, Obvi, I don't know if you've heard of Obvi, if you know Obvi.
Oh wait, Bobby, is that you're talking about makeup?
Obvi, O-B-V-I.
Oh no.
Obvi, they sell collagen supplements.
Okay.
It's a very pink and bright brand. These guys are amazing. They took it from 0 to 30 million in a few years. So they were my first clients. And my first client was my client for 18 months after that. I built everything that I could think of for them. They told me, Liz, if whatever you're doing makes us money, brings us leads, or gives our clients better experiences, go and do it.
Nice. So I wanted to highlight that part because, again, for so many people that are just at the early stages, and I know for a lot of listeners, you might be just getting started in business and maybe you're figuring out your product market fit. But I love the fact that I could extract this from you, Liz, is that, for one, is you had the mindset that you were like, I've seen people have success there, so there's no reasons I can't have success. That was one thing I pulled. Second is during the time that you were outreaching, you were still finding ways to provide value to others where it would actually help your education and even build your confidence and your competence in the fact that you could use ManyChat and you could use these chatbots to bring results for the customer. So the moment the customer was ready to say yes, you were ready to deliver as well. And I think that's kind of the difference between, going up till September and giving up and then staying till October. And now you got your first client and you were ready. There's a quote, and I don't know who uses this, but I hear it in seminar where people say like, if you're going out there and you're reaching out to people, what's the worst that could happen? And everybody says like, well, they'll say no. And then the flip is like, actually, they might say yes and you're not prepared. And so I find that need for preparation is so critical. And as far as a mindset, because there's almost a way that people prospect and do sales and they're like, I hope they don't pick up the phone because then I might have proof that I'm not ready for this. And so I love that story. I like the way that you showed up. Thank you so much for listening to the Selling with Love podcast. We have some previous episodes you can tune into right here. And if you prefer the short form content where you get to the point in under 10 minutes, we do have a ton of clips from our best episodes that are being shared on this channel as well. So pick which one supports you the most. And of course, thank you for liking, subscribing, and of course, selling with love.